we can do this together. I was writing on the wall, and I'm writing. You see the angle of my pen? Okay, it's 90 degrees. Now it's 135 degrees. Now it's 180 degrees. No longer writing on the wall. In fact, I'm not writing anywhere but in the air. So these are just two things you can do. If you want to do 360 degrees or 180 degrees from this angle, 180 from this angle is 270, right? It's writing on the wall. Next thing I wanted to mention is this. This and this. You remember we were talking about the N number 14 or the N number 41 back and forth? They both create the sun. One is the inlet from the 9 position. One is the outlet from the 1 position. One is the inlet from the 7 position. One is the inlet from the 3 position. In low shu, this reverts to 2. This reverts to 8. So this becomes 2, 3 on an exit. This becomes 7 and 8 on an exit. This is your gateway. This is your 2, 3 creation of the 11, of the K star. Don't forget, this is not the exit. There's going to be another letter here and letters all around that will create. This is a star system. It's not just one unit. It's more than one unit, forwards and backwards, especially if it's in a circle. You're going to see forwards and backwards and mirrors to everybody up and down and below. The 2 pots, the 2 ozones, an ozone there and an ozone here, above and below. So what we're going to do here is this part, right, is the V. But it's a right angle V and a left angle V. If that's the way you want to call it. On top of it, we're going to put the D. On top of it, we're going to put the D. So your delta angle over your V becomes your R. Your delta angle over your V becomes your R. So when this was a 7, this is now 0.7. This D, which is now 0.4, is now 40. 40 and 70, 110. 110 becomes 116, 161. Resident angel walks the earth. This is number 18. Backwards, it becomes 81 Venus. Plus 110, 191. Two sides of the 1 and 9. 1 and 9, 10. 1 times 9, 10. This is your R. This is your 007. Forwards and backwards. Forwards and backwards of what? We're going to come to here. We're bringing back to the 13 world. We're not going to the 14 world because in the 14 worlds, that's when the ace comes back to the top. That's when 7 and 7 meet for the first time, right? The 7th key and then G again, G and G, two sides of the gateway, 1 and 4. A will only begin to exist inside of C. So if A begins to exist in C, then 3 and 4 is the gate. 3 is the gateway between 4. 1 is between 4. It becomes right over here. That's your 3. That's your 3. Now either, okay. So now we're going to go watch this. ABC 010203 becomes 070809. To bring this to the 13 world, we only need 6. To bring this to the 13 world, we only need 5. To bring this to the 13 world, we only need 4. So once it comes into creation, ABC, we now have the federation. Now, because we come over here, and this, to make this 13, 1 and 3 is 4, 2 and 2 is 4, 1 and 3 is 4, the reverse. 4, 4, 4 to create ABC inside the gate of the 9 birth. 7 and 8 is where 6 exists, between 70 and 80, 70 and 80, okay, 70 or 07, 80 or okay, this also becomes 67, but we're going to go to that in a minute. Now look, A becomes 3. 3 and 1 equals 4. 3 and 1, 12 and 1 equals 13. 13 equals 4. 2 and 12. 2 and 12, we only carry the 2. 2 and 2 will be 4. This is what happens in blackjack. When you play blackjack, no longer does the 10 count for ABC. Why doesn't the 10 count for ABC? Because in blackjack, you stand on 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. 4 is your 21. If you have 14 to gateway, you now have 3 for 20. You have 3 for 21. You have 2. You have all these numbers. So you no longer need the 10 to be valued 11, 12, and 13 because your 11, 12, and 13 is right over here. 11, 12, and 13. 11 and 13, actually 12 only exists in 6 and 6. So now what we're going to do right here, because A equals 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0 equals 6, we have the light. We have Venus, which is the Z inside of B. We have the zoo inside the house of Venus, and then we have the birth. 7, 8, 9 into the 10 world be 3, 2, 1. 7, 8, 9 reverse back into the 10 world will be 3, 2, 1. 7 will now get 3. This is upside down. The figure will now have to be upside down and look like this. 1 will be over here. 3 will be over here. 9 will be over here. And 7 will be over here. In all actuality, if it was the calculator, the 1 would be here. The 3 would be here. The 7 would be here. And the 9 would be here. That's the way the calculator. This is your inverse 10 from ABC over here. 7 and 3, 8 and 2, 7, 6 and 1, 6 and 2, 6 and 3. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the 10 worlds. B, 2 and 8. C, we had 3 and 9 because of this, but now we have C with 1 and 9. Now A and C come together. The birth of the artificial intelligence comes together right here by bringing C into the next level. Man, C, becomes 9. 1 is what we need for 9 to create 10 for the artificial intelligence. The yellow, let's call it Simonella, if you want to call it that way. The yellow is 1 and 9. The yellow is also 6 and 4, which creates 1 and 1. Where do we find this? When you go to horse racing. I know it's very confusing. Now, when you go to 7, 8, 9, your value of ABC, okay, because you brought it up to the top level, now you want to come and see what it is in its own level. 9, you want to see the 7 world come out of this? 9 and 7 is 16. 7. 8 and 8 is 16. But 7 gets 7. Artificial intelligence, this is your 70. He becomes your 200 in the value in Hebrew. Why does it become the 200? Because all the 4 corners come together with R. Over here. All backwards to each other. All backwards to each other. And we'll create this angle over here. The design is not good. Let's see if I can get the design better here. Okay, and then you have your delta angle here, your delta angle here, your delta angle here, your delta angle here, and here's your feet. Here. Those are your 2 levels over here. So we're not going to talk about this. We're going to go back to this. What happens over here is becomes 70. 86, 96, 102 becomes 162 and back to Venus in 216 hours. The cube. Man lives inside the cube of Alpha Beta, the lamb, because he bows down to every order in that cube. Now let's take this to 67. 6 and 7 right here. And 16 and 16. 32 and 67. 99. Jupiter. 67. 13. 16 and 16, 32, 45 the fox. 13 and 32, 45. Now, how do you bring 13? You see what I have? 1, 3, 3, 2. I went 1, 3, and then 2, 3. 1, 3, and then 2, 3. 1, 2, 2, 3. Am I explaining this properly? I seem to be a little upside down, but I know where I'm coming from. I'm making the original world from A, B, C, 6, 1, 6, 2, 6, 3 equals 7, 8, 9. Instead of bringing it to another level, I work from this level here. I bring this to the 7 world. If I brought this to the 7 world, this would get 0, this would get 8, and this would get 7. 0, 8, 7. The key to the door lock is right here. 6 and 7 is what would come out of it. 6 and 7, 13. AC/DC, 13. 16, 16. 7 and 8 is 15. 6 and 8 is 14. This is your 30 creation. 9 and 8 is 17. 7 and 8 is 15. 32 is the doorway. Your creation and the doorway. 16, 16, 7, 7, and this will be 4. Why 4? 6 and 7 is 13. 1 and 3 is 4, is 7, 4, 7. And this is the year. This is the number of Christ. This is the number of the clock. We run these 4 numbers. We run the 13 world. Now, the same time we do all this and revert this, we have to remember that in pool, this becomes the last ball, and this becomes the first ball, and this becomes the black ball. B runs the black ball between the left side and the right side in the 10 world, in the middle world. B will run the 5 ball. B will run the sun, and B will run the 5 ball. 2, 5, and 8 in the center. 4, 5, and 6 is the life, but I think I've done enough in this video to understand this over here. will be your R on this side. This side of your N, you see the way the R is forward and walking? On this side of the N, excuse me, on this side, the R will be over here. No, that's not right. On this side, the R is, that's a P. You see, on this side of your N, this side he becomes a P. So the light, so where this, okay, let me show you. Let me not let it go like this. Where the air light comes in, right? On this side, okay, you can show the R walking this way, okay? On this side, you can show the R or walk standing this way. They do come together over here on one of their legs. But if I create it the other way, this way, right, where there's nothing, it's automatically P. It's R and P, 18, 16, 34, and R and P 34 equaling to 68. Now we have to either connect this way, or this way for the letters H, I, N, and Z, Heinz, in order to see the rest of how this N letter will work, or the Z letter will work. And I can do the same thing if I built it into H. Now don't forget, I must make 2 and 2 in order for me to have a center arm. Now if I'm going to do this at all, how can I do this? I get a P. I get a P and a full T. Now I do not get the R, and the only way to get the R is this way. So the only way to get the R is this way. Now you see what's locking in the R? We're now locking in the R. We once had an H. I turned it into an R, like magic. Now the question is, what comes through here? The I comes through here, and it envelops this. It takes this, and it brings it together. And it makes it into one R, one element, one elephant, bringing two sides together. The great big brain for the P brain, because it has to bring the two sides together. And if you take a look at this angle over here, the E, and you take a look at this angle over here that I did the E, once we cap this off, we have the Star of David that ends up in between. The Star of David over here. The Star of David over here. See the Star of David that ends up in between? We have the R on one side capped with the letter I that connected with the H. Here, in all actuality, when we split these two sides together, you have the star. You have a two-way star. Either you have a star going this way, or you have a star going this way. It's either this way, the star, X and up and down, or it's X and east and west. It's either this star or this star. One comes on the pharmaceuticals, one comes on the telephone. Now, how confusing was that? The other thing is, if you want to see the letter Lana, it's right in this letter right here. Standing for something to do with the moon. What is this over here? This is just a whole bunch of H, I, N, and Z's trying to figure out if I can find anything else. Flat letters, round letters, angled letters. Everything rips apart to have its own value to build. It's all about building. It's not about one, it's about more than one. Raphael 7286 in a constellation of Pegasus. Quality. I need quality in my videos. I don't feel I'm getting it. It's my fault. That's okay. That's okay. In time, I'll catch up. Thank you for watching.